Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm from San Rafael. I've been attending St. Stephen's since early 2017, and I made the adjustment to being here very easily. I felt that the congregation was friendly, very welcoming, and invited me to take part in activities right away so that I could get to know people better. When I came here, I was very pleasantly surprised at the friendliness of everyone. People started introducing themselves right away. We have a legendary coffee hour, and it's really a great time to mill around, get to know people, and be invited to take part in activities. I found that the congregation was very concerned with helping the community, that they had long-standing ties, but were never too set in their ways to welcome a new member and help her get involved. Everyone was very welcoming to adult education, to participation on our coffee hour. There were so many opportunities for me to find people who had interests like I did. I grew up with parents who were seekers. It was always very clear to me that to have a relationship with God was very important, and my parents were always looking for the best way to do that. Along their own journey, I got to experience a number of churches and religions, and for a while, like a lot of young people, I wasn't very involved with religion. And as I got a little bit older, when I got out of college, it just so happened that I worked for a religious institution, and I would ask a lot of questions. I've always been a questioner, and I was lucky that my boss, if she didn't know the answer, she would go and find out the answer. She actually sponsored me to be a retreatant, to go out on a Curcio retreat. And that's when I realized that Christ was for me, that I wanted to be a Christian and I wanted to grow closer to Jesus. And since then, that was in 2000, I looked at a number of congregations or religions for myself, and I was baptized in the Episcopal Church. So I'm not a cradle Episcopalian, and I feel in some ways new to my faith, even though this has been the last 20 years. One of the things about St. Stephen's is that you'll find people at every stage of their journey. You never need to feel that you don't understand enough to ask a question. I've never felt silly asking a question, and clergy is always available to help you strengthen your faith or to answer questions or to talk about a personal problem. That's been really, really nice. Father Ellsworth, I really am somebody who feels really lucky to have him in my life. He is somebody that when he's at the pulpit, I always learn something. I love to be challenged intellectually. And, he's funny, but obviously very learned. He gives me things to think about, after I've left church. And, I've come to him with personal things before and just felt so much better afterwards. He is somebody who really cares about everybody here. And I think that when you can make a personal connection with the clergy, your faith is just going to be strengthened by that, because you'll be able to rely on the clergy for what they're there for. They want to help you. That's what they've chosen to do. And having somebody who's really warm, it can only help you in your faith. Serving on the vestry has been a great experience for me. I am just leaving the vestry as of the end of 2020, and it has been really a growth experience for me. Personally, I've been so lucky to learn more about this church, to get to know other members who are committed to the growth of the church. I've recognized strengths in myself. I've recognized weaknesses in myself. But through it all, what I have gotten is that the vestry, through this shared love of St. Stephen's and looking at each other through Christ's eyes, becomes a team of friends, and serving on a vestry is something that will go on with you after you leave. It was so positive, and I just felt that I made lasting friendships. If you are a seeker and you want to just exercise that faith muscle, you want to know what's there, you want to learn about how you can grow closer to Christ through observing the church year and letting each thing in the Bible become a part of you, then St. Stephen's is a great place to be. I really like attending a liturgical church, a church that really stresses the church year, because I find that, as it grows colder, I'm thinking about things in the life of Christ. As it grows warmer, I'm looking forward to Easter and all that it brings. And St. Stephen's has the people of St. Stephen's hold all this very close and will help you to make all of this real in your life, so that it doesn't just stay a Sunday thing for you. As a person of color, having lived in Marin for about the last 20 years, I still was really unfamiliar with the Belvedere Tiburon area and had never even heard of St. Stephen's. So when it was recommended to me, I maybe had a little bit of hesitation, but what I found is that this congregation has some diversity that I didn't expect. I found I wasn't the only African American member of the congregation, and that people were very welcoming. I want to say to people of color who are interested in coming to St. Stephen's that this is a welcoming place. You will feel very comfortable here and really want to take part in what's going on here. This is a vibrant community full of interesting, fun, faith-filled people, and also people who are interested in having new experiences, in hearing your points of view. This isn't a place where you have to hold your tongue or not express yourself. The congregation is interested in interacting with people of color and understanding more about our lives. Something that people of color often experience is that you feel like you have to be a teacher. I want to say that that's not what's going on here. People here are aware enough to understand that our lives are different, that we have issues that maybe they don't. But I felt very comfortable speaking my truth here, and you are welcome to as well. If you're a person who responds to the history of the church, the majesty of a place like Grace Cathedral, looking at European cathedrals, I'm betting that you're gonna really enjoy the architecture of St. Stephen's. It's very different for the majority of the churches here in Marin, but it's built like a cathedral. You have that feeling when you're inside. You have that sense of height, that sense of majesty. And one of the things that it does is it almost makes you feel closer to the people in the pews around you. You have these beautiful windows, and the sounds of the organ fill up the space. And there has rarely been a sound so beautiful as our full choir, with the sound rolling over the balcony onto the congregation below. It is majestic. The music program here at St. Stephen's can't be beat. The American Bach soloists are resident here, and it makes such a difference in our music program here. John Hurton, our organist, is superior, and the space of St. Stephen's, that the music and the majestic space will fill up your heart. There have been times when it brought tears to my eyes. Music really affects how you, or at least for me, how I internalize the lessons and my prayers. It can make such a big difference for me. If music is a thing for you, definitely come to St. Stephen's. St. Stephen's has been a source of great joy for me.